What's up, friendos, and welcome into Leading Off. It's a Monday edition. I am Welsh. That is Bubba. And Leading Off is brought to you by PrizePicks. Go and check out PrizePicks today. Use promo code Leading Off. Get $100 matched up 100% of $100 matched on PrizePicks. You just go use the promo code, make a little deposit, have some fun today. Oh, hello, Bubba. What a weekend of a new he who shall not be named players, huge home run board changes, and a whole bunch more. Bubba, how was your weekend, my friend?
It was good. It was chill, pretty hot where I live, pretty hot where you live. It was just a relaxing weekend actually for the first time in God knows how long. So yeah, just watch some baseball, watch some golf, and so far I am not a do not fly list, so we're good.
That's right. That's right. Bubba and Welsh staying out of trouble and gonna stay out of trouble in this segment. We will talk about that thing here in a little bit. Tons to talk about, and we have a brand new Where Are Corbin and Welsh Today? We have a brand new
segment of the show. Like I look forward to it every day.
In just a little bit, I'm going to give you the hint. And then at the end, when we get to the home run contest, we're going to get into it. Remember, I'm going to start tallying. So this is going to be done only in the chat. So once I give the hint and, leading up to it, you guys can give some guesses. I will tally in, and I'm going to have a little, autograph Corby Carroll card to give at the end of the season for everybody that hangs out and plays the game. Where are we now? That's what we're doing here. Over the weekend, Matt Olson took over the home run board, not just here and vaulting me up a little bit more. And Joe finds this amazing way every year to hone in on the player when he leaves, that he's just like, I'll take the player, and that guy just has homers galore because he took Matt Olson. I took Matt Olson this weekend. Bubba, he had 3 homers this weekend, including a double dong day. Now 43. I believe that is 2 up on Ohtani for the league lead in home runs.
It is 2 up on Ohtani. He's got well over 100 RBIs this year. It's crazy. I was recording a show on Sunday night and just boom, blasts one off in the 8th inning. I was like, the guy's just not human. It's like I said it a while ago on Twitter. The Braves are a cheat code right now, and they don't even need Coors Field. They're just wherever they play. It's insane.
He is nuts. Remember that bet we were talking about last week, the Acuna or any other player?
Yeah.
That's still live on DK.
Olson's making an argument.
But it's moved down just a little bit. It moved. The plus was 500. It's moved to plus 400. Acuna's is still the exact same. Matt Olson, not to say that it would happen, because especially when you have 2 players eating into each other, but you do want to start talking about the crazy things that can happen with still like almost 2 months left of a season. He's got 43 homers. He's plus 1,800 if you were trying to bet MVP. Freddie Freeman is plus 400, and those are probably your 2 biggest bets. You're essentially betting Olson and Freeman to beat Acuna when you get that plus 400. But if you want to bet Olson 1,800, the better odds are just sticking with him. He has been absolutely bonkers. I mean, how badly do you think we underestimated Matt Olson, and how much do you buy this version of Matt Olson right now going into next year? I know that's kind of a weird question, but he's got his batting average to 273. He's already hit over 100 RBI. This week he's going to probably crush the 100 run marker. And you want to talk about, baseball savant fishing here. He is the king of kings. It's 99 percentile barrel percentage, 99 percentile hard hit. Walk is 96 percentile, X-Slug 98 percentile. Outside of the strikeouts, he's improved in every other facet. I just made an adjustment in my dynasty ranks to kind of reestablish who he's been this year. Do you think we're going to be paying next year for what Olson did this year, and that's going to hurt us?
100%. You're going to have to pay the piper on this one. I think he's close to this talent. I think he's more of a 250 hitter, but the power is legit. This is who he is, especially in that ballpark he got out of Oakland, which we all knew would benefit him in a big, big way. So, yeah, I think he's worth every penny. He's like, I guess in the grand scheme of things, we're paying the price because if people like Pete Alonso, why don't you like Matt Olson? Like, they should be going to the same conversation now come draft day. Alonso's proven he can hit for a better average more consistently throughout his career. But Olson, you're going to pay the price, and that's just the way it's going to go. It's going to be interesting to see if it's worth enough because you got Freddie Freeman, not his Goldschmidt fall even more, who's not having the greatest of seasons, but still a good season. Like, that's a whole other discussion for later at a different time. But yes, you will be paying for Matt Olson, and it's probably worth it. Just know it ain't going to be this good every time.
Yeah, and like it doesn't mean it's like a negative when you say you're paying this
You
new
pay
coming
for-
year for last year's production.
It's going to be pretty good. You're getting 40-plus homers, even if it's 250 average. He's going to get 100 RBIs regardless. Like, it's still going to be a great pay spot, but you will be paying for it.
It's just like I think this year we paid for Pete Alonso the previous year, and that's maybe a little bit of disappointment. Not to say that these are going to be the same. The strikeout worries definitely are something with Matt Olson, but you also can argue like there's so much lineup protection. And also Wonky made a great point. You want to talk about beneficiaries of the shift. That's one of the guys right there. It's a big victory lap. As Wonky said, the shift rules benefited him, even if he's just hitting it over everybody.
Yeah, did they shift in the bleachers? Did I miss that part?
Well, I mean, the homers have been... Yeah, but to that point, though, I don't know how much quantitative stuff we have. I don't have it like in front of me, but without the shift, I do think there are some pitchers that are pitching differently, a la Sandy Alcantara. I think the approach to pitchers might be a little bit different on heavy pull guys, and Matt Olson is one of those players. So he did good by me this weekend, my friend. So wait till you see that home run board. Welsh is coming. If I could do the whistle, the Negan, the...
I was gonna say
almost.
I was gonna say Omar's coming from the wire.
Oh, that would be another.
Yeah. Yep.
See, right there, I nailed it. Negan's coming, but it's Welsh.
There you go.
So let's get that Photoshop in here, please. We're all Photoshopped out. Hey, the
with the
Yankees,
bat.
absolute collapse. This was a quote by Clay Holmes over the weekend. The mountain gets bigger with every loss. We put together some wins and string them together and get some momentum going, and then poof, down the drain. And they gave up, I think it was a 5-run... eighth or ninth, was it? It was a 5-runner from the Marlins, and the Yankees are in a full-on collapse. So, we're not trying to celebrate, but
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. The evil empire for a reason.
What do you think, by the way, is going to be the fantasy catalyst from this collapse? Is it going to be aggressiveness in free agency for players that they're going to go pick up? Do you think someone's losing their job? Do you think there's a player or two that is going to get ousted? Like, how do you think they're going to rebound from this?
It's going to be interesting because, Cashman's had this leash forever, but it feels like it's either let him spend all the money, which they've kind of held back in the last few years because they said they wanted to save for like Ohtani and others, or Cashman's gone. That's going to be the real that'll be the first domino that will determine, I think, everything else after that. That'll be the interesting part for sure.
I agree with that. Dane Dunning this weekend. We could have put him in the 3 up and 3 down, but I wanted to highlight him.
Well, he faced the Giants first. I'm just going to stop you right ahead.
That's fine, but struck out 12. He's now had double-digit strikeouts in 2 of his last 3. He has been kind of a monster. A 3.10 ERA, has a big all-expected ERA, though, over a run over 4.35 to his 3.10 ERA. Guys are hitting him hard, but this is one of those guys, I think we've talked about it here. You just have players, and especially if you were to make a board of players that defy what the underlying things say to you. I would say Dane Dunning is probably on this because there isn't much working in his favor as far as what's good. He doesn't walk a whole bunch of guys. He's a command pitcher, kind of pitches to command, but he's taken this new step so far. Kind of really ever since the trade deadline, if we're being on August. He's got a 2.18 ERA over his last 3 starts, 29 strikeouts in 20 innings pitched. And looking at this, he did not have one single month leading up to this one where he had more strikeouts than innings pitched ever. And then this month he's gone off. Do you buy Dane Dunning rest of season? Because I'm pretty sure ownership is still very, very palatable out there.
The Dunning thing, he's still a streamer for me. He's just much more towards the top of the streamer list, if that makes sense for people. There's going to be matchups where he might still get you okay ratios, but strikeouts won't be there. But there's matchups like the Giants. He had the whiffs, and if you're a CSW person, he had all that going. He was shutting them down. He's in the same kind of discussion as a Brady Singer, where they're getting you the ratios, but the strikeouts kind of fluctuate based on their outings. So I think Dunning's very, very formidable, and you're going to have chances for wins with that lineup in a big, big way. So he's a good streamer going forward. I still can't start him confidently every time out.
Yeah, big strikeout teams do make me feel confident. I don't know. I'm probably one more start away, one more start like this.
Well, if he did this against at least the middle of the pack team, I'd be okay, now we can kind of live with it.
Who do the Rangers have later this week? Let's go to
they have the Angels to open. I know the week. I know that.
Yeah, I know they got the Angels right now. So Dunning would be. Let's look at Friday. That team is a team with the name as the Brewers. Okay, so would you
I'd start Dunning versus the Brewers.
See, I think we're getting into a space where it's like, okay, so who are you not starting Dunning again? Okay, the Braves.
It's probably
sure,
like a top 10 offense. I'm still staying away.
like the Orioles,
Braves,
maybe.
he hasn't faced the Rangers, so that's good. The Orioles, like if he's going into Coors or Great American, I'd be very hesitant.
You're starting versus a team like Boston right now.
They're surging, so I'd be very nervous there. I'd be very nervous. That's why it's kind of like I really would be picking my, especially as it's later in the season. If you get shelled, it's really, really hard now to fix those ratios if you're in a roto format. I know, like ITL, they preach the head-to-head this time of year and everything, but if you're playing rotos, he could be one of those guys that either like he's great for you the last few weeks, or he could crush you in the next 2 weeks.
Well, head-to-head, he can crush you too.
That's
He can
true.
crush any possibility of your playoffs. You got to get ratios right. That's why I get a little bit more worried. But I feel like he has become more startable than not startable, and those are guys that it's like, maybe you can start taking risks with. There are more teams that you can play him against than you can't, and that's a good thing.
And he's got a good schedule. It's Milwaukee this week, at Minnesota next week. You're starting him for both of those, so he's definitely on the path of, he's only got 6 or 7 more starts, so you're probably starting him at least 4 of those. Just thinking out loud, 4 or 5.
At least.
That's probably a pretty solid ad for sure.
Lead you right into fantasy playoffs or crunch time for Roto. Interesting stuff in the chat going on. A lot of Matt Olson rank stuff. Vlad came in there, which is interesting. And, I was moving Vlad down a little bit in my dynasty ranks, and I'm a little torn on Olson versus Vlad long term, but like, if you are just coming back to it for a second, Olson has easily surpassed Pete Alonso. And I think for redraft next year, it's still Freddie Freeman, but then it's Alonso like right there. So essentially, I think Olson has flipped with Alonso, but pushed up. Where I think I think it'll be hard pressed that Olson and Freeman are both not top 15 picks next year.
100%.
And I think you could argue there's not a pitcher that deserves to go over them. So, the first round should be all hitters next year, probably in most formats. And Vlad is tailing behind. A better debate would be Vlad versus Pete Alonso.
I was about to say, in reality, for me, it's Vlad versus a guy like Paul Goldschmidt. I guess Vlad fall into 4th or 5th. Because I still have Alonso over Vlad, but again, that could be a debate. But how far does Vlad go? Because he's still having an okay year, but he's not having a top 2, 3 round. It's tough to justify a top 3 round pick right now.
It's not good at all. Another piece here. This is a who'd you rather. Dylan Cease had a 7-inning, 7K game. It has been a bad season, mainly because of expectations and early victory laps by people that didn't want to hear that Dylan Cease could be bad. Versus Freddie Peralta, who has been, I guess if you presented them all to me, I would have a better idea of like things that I have gotten wrong or dismissive. There's, obviously I'll have things that I get right and I'll be like, ooh, annoying about it. But like, I can 100% acknowledge that things are wrong. I feel like Freddie Peralta is one of my biggest wrongs this year. I was just done with it, over it. The lack of command, the lack of consistency. It's still been there a part of this season, but even when he started turning around, he has just been turning it around, man. Freddie Peralta has been very, very good. 6 innings, 6 strikeouts. I believe no earned runs in this one. And looking over his last couple, his last 4, he's given up 4 total earned runs. He did have a big clunker in there against Atlanta, but you almost just kind of throw that off or something, dude.
Count.
Yeah, but he's got 2 13 strikeout games in there, hasn't struck out less than 6 in his last 2. So who would you rather, not just like rest of season, but going into next year, Freddie Peralta or Dylan Cease?
I'm team Freddie Peralta on this one.
Over Cease?
Yes, I was hesitant on Cease to begin with because he had a great year last year, but he's always been a high walk guy and just consistency with him. So it was like, prove it to me again, and he's kind of not proven it this year, if that makes sense to anybody. With Freddie, like I've always liked the fastball upside that he brings for his strikeouts. He's got like multiple fastballs. He can use almost a little Lance Lynn light, which what he does here. It's also a walk thing with Freddie where he's been able to stay below 10%, where Cease usually goes over 10%. So that's the big difference. Plus, I like the situation in Milwaukee much more than Chicago.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I mean, one of my big, like, he's going to stink this year, bold predictions was Dylan Cease, and that got people up in the arms. So that's why I'm saying this is actually like a one I got right, one I got wrong, and I'm kind of flipped in the same direction. Pitchers in like baseball savant pages and the little scroll bars and stuff mean a lot less, but you want to dig into it, kind of like you were saying, like the K percentage is almost 30%. Walk percentage isn't quite where it was last year, but expected ERA is a half run less. He's got a 4.08 with a 3.47 this season. And we've just seen the consistency. The four seam last year had it's essentially 25% whiff rate. It's essentially a 30% whiff rate this year. Slider, 40% whiff rate last year. Or 30%, I'm sorry, 47% this year. Way, way more effective. Found his groove. Stella found his groove back. So I'm with Freddie Peralta on this one.
He's also getting healthier. Like he had the injury last year, so he's kind of slow start. He got a little speed bump in the middle of the year with the injury. These last 4 starts showing health, and he's actually pitching really well.
Eury Perez allowed 4 runs on 4 hits in 4 innings and a no decision against
Send him to the
Yankees.
minors.
Yeah, well, the big thing I just want to point out is he's on a strict pitch count. It was like 82 innings. He's still fantastic. I think he's going to be rough. It's just these type of guys. It's going to be rough the rest of the way through with their management and stuff like that. So, if you've got any keeper implications, you got to hold. But anything else, I think I'm not telling you to cut him or anything like that. But you know what? You might be better served with a guy like Dane Dunning than Eury Perez. And I know that stinks. Like they'll be a good start or two, but there's only so far that Eury can go. So any bump or bruise in a long inning, and he's not going to qualify at the win. So if you're really chasing wins and stuff like that, there's probably better options just the rest of the way through. Because you just send him to the minors. It's just going to be bleh.
And we're going to see that with a lot of these young arms coming up here. Like the Guardians pitchers, we already do like with Bybee and those guys that they already were stretched out. But a lot of these young guys, Woo's on the IL in Seattle. Speculating it might be more innings based on the actual injury. There's a lot of guys like that we're going to see in the next couple of weeks where it's going to be 3 innings here, skip a start here, and it's really going to make fantasy implications difficult.
Angela, by the way, on the Peralta C said, I'll take Bybee over both.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. What about Gavin Williams? No, I was kidding.
maybe we could give Freddie a nickname. We can call him Stella, like Wonky. Stella found her groove back. And we'll all just know that together. All right, then the last thing. Wander Franco is potentially in trouble. Not going to do a whole bunch on Wander Franco today. Not going to do what the internet does with it, but suffice it to say, if you have not paid attention, and really not a lot of people knew what was going on because it was very internet based, but then Jeff Passan kind of jumped into the fray. But Wander Franco is currently being investigated for some troubles. Oslavius Baysby was brought up yesterday. They said it, and early on they said it was very clerical. If I'm being honest with you, I kind of don't believe the Rays where they were like, oh, during the game we found out about this stuff online.
No,
I don't think so.
You got tipped off when the move was made.
Yeah, he's not traveling. They brought up this guy. I don't believe it. But Wander Franco is in some serious trouble. Some big allegations. You guys want to go check it out? You can. He is not traveling with the team. MLB is investigating some video, photo stuff that kind of surfaced online with someone that is not his age. And it does not look good for Wander Franco. It's a bad look. And God knows when we're going to hear about it. But he is not traveling with the team. And it can go from worse to the worse. Worse to even worser, if you will, with Wander Franco. So it is a nasty, nasty situation. Okay. Turn the table. Wipe that clean here. I'm going to give the Corbin Welsh "Where Are We" hint. Okay? So keep it in the back of your head. You guys want to jump in at any time, even maybe more preferably when we get there, for your guesses, and I will mark you. The guess is Steve Martin. Steve Martin is the guess.
I know what it is.
Maybe it was too good of a guess.
I have
Martin
a guess.
is the guess. Okay. That's the guess for where in the world are Corbin or Welsh and Corbin Carroll coming up here in just a tiny bit. Quick rookie lookie. Brandon Pfaadt racked up a career-high 8 strikeouts over 5 2/3 innings and a no decision against the Padres. Just continues to he's getting his groove back.
Yep.
Thank you, Matt Strom. Just want to continuously reiterate how moving on the rubber has changed him and how he's able to throw in different spots. So, he has been very good. If you had deep keepers, I think that's a positive you can hold on to. I just think he's a guy that you can hold, and you still might be able to spot start the rest of the way because Diamondbacks got nobody else. They designated a bunch of dudes. They brought up Bryce Jarvis, my guy, but he's in
Ryan Nelson to AAA. It's all over the place.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a disaster. And our boy, I think the very first comment in the chat today was about Zach Geloff, who Bubba and I have been talking about since Bubba came back on. So hat tip there. 4 for 5, 2 solo homers in a win. And Zach Geloff, he's not a league winner or anything like that, but dude, he might be the pickup of the last month. And it continues to roll. 8 homers, 6 stolen bases, hitting .281. He's cut that K percentage down, and his expected batting average holds with a 16+% barrel percentage. It's very, very nice. I mean, I don't know what you got to say on Geloff here.
Oh, I've just been raving about him and tweeting about him and added him in all my leagues the last few weeks. But the one thing I will mention is Underdog. They tweeted out, I know it's probably not, shouldn't have said that word on the show, but they tweeted out a list of all the rookie F4s and the leaders. And he didn't make the list because it's like top 10. But I tweeted out, I quote tweeted, I said, Zach Geloff, 1.3 F4 in 25 games. So like the lowest of the top 10 was like 2.1. He's almost in the top 10 in 25 games. That's how good he's been. He is the second half fab unicorn that Matt McLain was for the National League. This is who he is.
That's an interesting. You know what would be a really fascinating breakdown would be McLain versus Geloff, because they have a lot of similarities. They were both in the AFL, and Geloff, he was a little bit more inconsistent, but great defender. You could see how he could like get into his power. He could run, but there's more pop in McLain's bat, but he was so inconsistent. It would actually be very interesting because let me look here.
Yeah, I had a follower mention because I was tweeting about Geloff on Saturday. Like, he is the Matt McLain of the AL. I'm like, that's freaking genius.
Yeah, see, that's really interesting. Well, so the differences lie in, first off, the consistency of McLain for this long term, but they both have similar K percentage, similar walk percentage. I just went away from, let me see if I can go back and forth here. Hard hit percent, but see here, hard hit percentage in the early front goes in favor of Geloff, and the barrel percentage is really not close so far. So we'll have to see if that changes, because hard hit for Geloff is 48 compared to 41, and it's 9-16 on the barrel percentage, but kind of similar players. I buy that one. I kind of dig that one. But Zach Geloff, still a must pick up if he's sitting out there. So don't delay. Act now. On some injuries, Royce Lewis is going to be returning on Tuesday. God knows where he's going to be playing, but we'll get to see.
See you,
he's versatile.
See you.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Hunter Brown is going to have his start skipped and is going to start next Friday versus Seattle, though they did say he'd be available in like a bullpen role. So, we're into management time. I want to put like my blinders on for it, but sometimes we're just in management with these rookies. This is why I don't heavily invest in rookies in general. And this year has proven more than ever how fun it is to just be aggressive on the wire and pick up the Bibees and Bradleys when they're good and Bobby Millers and stuff like that instead of heavy investment, which, even Hunter Brown wasn't a heavy investment. Shohei Ohtani is going to miss his next start versus Texas with fatigue and will start next versus Cincinnati. Any little slowdown worries for Ohtani with like the role he's had? I kind of do feel like this is an opportunity, even though he had his 41st homer of the weekend. These are the type of things I feel like going to push Matt Olson up a little bit, like you're going to push starts. Ohtani's got to be wearing down. I mean, no one's going harder than Ohtani this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's wearing down. We see all these cramps and all these, like, every time he goes out there, there's a new injury. It feels like he's going to need a breather. The fact the Angels went all in and then they haven't like won 2 games maybe since then. It's time to start putting the white flag up. And Ohtani, the fact is Ohtani told the manager, Phil Nevin, he wanted a day off for fatigue. That says everything you need to know right there.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing a little bit here. All right. Oh, I think we had another. Jonah Heim activated from the IL ahead of schedule. That's good. Nestor Cortez back on the IL with rotator cuff strain. Probably going to miss the rest of the season, so no bueno. 3 up, 3 down. Someone just mentioned it. Trevor Story. How about Trevor Story going 4 for 4 with 2 runs scored as the Red Sox beat the Tigers? Are you kind of back in with Story?
Oh, I'm all in on Story. It's you flip the page and it's a great time with Trevor Story.
Story or Geloff rest of the season?
I think I had this question by someone else. I said Geloff because I don't think Story is going to be fully good to go till like 1st of September. It's close, but he did the 4 for 4 here, which is great. A fully healthy Story. I'll take Story 100%.
I need to see the chat because we got both Story and Geloff fans. Story or Geloff for you guys?
It's a good one. Probably Story. like that's probably the smart play. I just love Geloff, man. My bias and what he's done is amazing.
I want to see. You guys go in there. On the rest of the 3 ups, Andres Gimenez went 4 for 5 with a homer and a stolen base, and Julio Urias 7 innings. I can't roll my tongue, so I can't do like Joe would do. He'd be like, I can't do that. Julio Urias 7 innings, 3 earned runs, but 12 strikeouts. That is not something that he does a lot. On the 3 down, Jamison Tyone 3 innings and 8 earned runs. Jake Bauers 0 for 5 with 4 Ks, and CES had a dual matchup, 8 at-bats. He got 1 hit, but 4 strikeouts. No bueno, my friends. No bueno at all. But what is bueno, as soon as I can find it, takes us to...
Real quick.
Oh, hold on. We'll do PrizePicks. Yeah, I know what you're going to talk about. We'll go there. PrizePicks, promo code leading off a 100% match up to $100. When you do it, get it today. Download the app and make awesome picks just like Bubba and I do. Get to PrizePicks today. Use that promo code leading off. I believe you're going to mention the Wander Franco news, which is Wander Franco has officially been placed on the restricted list. Was there something else?
We ain't going to see him the rest of the year. That's what that comes down to.
I will say,
unless it's a quick investigation. That's all I know.
I will say this is a standard play for an investigation. So they have roster flexibility. I don't think this thing being placed on the restricted list, I don't think this is the smoking gun at all. I think this is the standard procedure. But that 24 hours, they didn't get the insight that they had, probably not a good sign.
Yes, that's kind of where I was going. So not good. Not good.
Pretty ugly. It's a pretty ugly situation. Yikes. But PrizePicks, very pretty. Hey, PrizePicks, what are we picking? We're not going to be picking Wander Franco in there, Bubba. So what do you got?
Nope. Big Meat Pete Alonso. I like him against Quinn Priester today. Priester tons of hard contact. Alonso's heating up. Over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI seems too good to be true. Corbin Carroll, Coors Field, Chris Flexen, over 9.5 fantasy points. That's easy peasy for me. And I'll stay with that game. Ketel Marte over 8.5 fantasy points as well. Honestly, I didn't love the board a ton when I looked at PrizePicks today.
I would agree with you on that. I took Logan Gilbert with the fantasy score 31.5. Corbin Carroll 8.5. Hitting in Colorado against Chris Flexen just seems like a fantastic spot. I'm gonna throw this out to you too. Ketel Marte, pretty damn good. So I might throw Ketel Marte in there if you want as well, if you want to attack Colorado. And then I went with Max Scherzer strikeout 7.5 under. Now I know the Angels strike out more than anybody, but also just a couple at bats getting to Max. He's just not going to be able to get there. Last 5 starts, he did go over 8 once. Or 8+, so he can still get to 7 and not and he will cash this because it's under 7.5. So Logan Gilbert fantasy score, Corbin Carroll fantasy score, and Max Scherzer under is where I'm going. Also want to point out how hilarious this Geloff story thing is, because Wonky goes Geloff, Lee goes Story 100, and then we have Geloff, and then we have Toy Story, no question.
It's almost 50-50 in the chat.
yeah. But what's also funny is like everyone's like, no, this is not even a question. And it's like, well, 100% is a question because we keep going with it. Yeah. Bets. Going with our best bets. I've got 2 that I locked into. Like you said, it's kind of a rough, weird day. What I did love, I don't care what the juice is. Atlanta, through the first 5 innings, team total runs 2.5. Smash for me. That offense is banging. They're going up against Clark Schmidt. I love that play. It is juiced. Maybe you want to play it with something. Maybe you want to put it with some fun money line somewhere, or you just pay the juice and say screw it. But through the first 5 innings, team total runs 2.5 over for Atlanta today. And then I also like the Seattle Kansas City first 5 under total runs. That's 4.5. Now why? Because Brady Singer's been kind of hot. Logan Gilbert's a monster. So under total runs between the two teams, 4.5 through the first 5 innings. Those are my 2 favorite bets today. What do you got, Bubba?
Pete Alonso, go back to Big Beat Pete here. Over 1.5 total bases is plus 140, which is just silly to me. You'll see why later. Zach Geloff, I'm going to keep riding the hot hand here. Over 1.5 total bases at plus 125 facing Miles Mikolas. That seems pretty nice to me. It's plus money in general. And then I also like in that game, St. Louis first 5 over 2.5 runs minus 125. I think St. Louis takes care of JP Sears, giving up 4 runs a game on the reg these days.
All right, what do you got on DFS? What are we playing?
Mad Max versus the Angels. Pitching stinks on this slate. So Mad Max, if you just want to punt pitching, I'm cool with that. Mikolas at 7K versus the A's. Grayson Rodriguez 6.4K versus San Diego. I like Grayson at that price quite a bit. Stacking it up, obviously Arizona and Coors versus Flexen. St. Louis versus JP Sears, and then the Rangers versus the lefty Patrick Sandoval. And there's not a ton of value, honestly, but Peguero of Pittsburgh, second base shortstop, 2.8K versus Carrasco has been hitting really well, actually, since the All-Star break. Nelson Velasquez, 2.7K. Mentioned him last week. He homered Friday and Saturday, if you're keeping track at home. And they sent Edward Olivares down and kept Velasquez up when Drew Waters came back. So Nelly Velasquez, 2.7. Waters, 2.5. You just want some value versus versus Logan Gilbert, but I'd probably go elsewhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, where in the world are Welsh and Corbin Carroll? Your hint was Steve Martin. I made some production over the weekend. Think on it. You have 30 more seconds to lock your pick in, because where in the world? I know I'm going to go to you first. Where in the world are Welsh and Corbin Carroll? Where are we? The last guesses are getting in. I see a couple funny ones. I will tell you, unfortunately for the chat, because this is it right here, North Korea. I have not seen one person get it correct. So, Bubba, where are Corbin and I?
This might just be me overthinking because I know you and your sarcasm level. You said Steve Martin. So I went with Three Amigos, and I went the Alamo, but I could be totally wrong.
Boy, that is a great one, and I love Three Amigos.
That's why I went there. I was like, okay, could be.
It's
fun.
one of my all times. Sabo, actually, Grand Canyon was last time. That was from last time. I'm going to be incorporating them as we go. No, it was a much deeper hint. If you know Steve Martin, you know King Tut. We are at the pyramids. That's right. We're in Egypt. We took a plane. We flew out. Me and Corbin. We're seeing the sights. We're seeing one of the 7 wonders of the world. Can you be so funky? California down King Tut. That's it. There you go. Me and Corbin. We visited the Great Pyramids, and hopefully we're gonna visit the batting cages next. Is going to be happening because it hasn't been going so super great. But there you go. Nobody got it right. I'm so sorry. But next time we will keep going with where in the world are Corbin and the Welsh. That's where we were. We were at the pyramids. So that'll be incorporated into the Open. I hope you guys like the Open. I made that. Like, I have a bad habit of when I don't have the time to do things, my brain gets locked into something and I have to make it. The old ITL days, I would spend 4 hours making a song when that 4 hours could have been done as something so much better. I could have put my time and usage in there, but I did make the Open. It continues on Wednesday. We'll do it again here. Bubba, who do you have for your home run call today? Oh, and then I'll put up the home run board.
Going with my streak here. Big Meat Pete the Polar Bear going up against Priest or Pete Alonso.
I think people are liking your name.
See, this shows they don't listen to my other content. I've been calling on this forever. Big Meat Pete.
Home run board. Don't look now, ladies and gentlemen. Blue Harvester did pick up one this weekend. JJ Tater did not. I don't know if Hoffman and Razor moved, but look at that at number 5. I have tied it up with Wonky. Me and Wonky at 35 because I had a 3-homer weekend. We have Randy helpless in Miami and a couple others. I will say we're probably getting to the time of the year where some people are bailing out, so the board isn't probably going to do a crazy move. But from a stat perspective, Wonky, I'm very curious. Can you tell me, and maybe we can figure this out, I want to know who on leading off of any of the hosts have had the most homers of all time. What were the most homers of all time from a leading off personality? If it was you, it's probably going to be you or Joe, but I know Mayer did really good last year. Let's find out what that is, because I want to see where you and I are rocking on the board. But that is where the home run board is, and I'm looking to keep it going. So today I'm going with another Brave, Austin Riley. Austin Riley, by the way, I believe has like 17 of his homers or some insane 21 of his homers on righties this year. He's been destroying righties. So I'm very much about this matchup. I was trying to get involved with it. So that is where I want. So we saying Joe has the record. What did Joe have last year? Yuck.
Well,
I want to beat that. That's my goal. Like I want this.
When Joe left the show, he had Aaron Judge every day, so that worked out pretty well for.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to know. Like, how far did he go? Did he go to 40 something like that? I want to take that 10. Now, if we're talking about winning percentage of hit percentage, it might be Bubba, because Bubba, I think you're at like a 60% hit rate right now, which has been absurd. So there you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed all of it. I hope you enjoyed Where in the World is Welsh and Corbin Carroll. We'll play that again. So again, I'm going to be tallying. Nobody's on the board. So Wednesday we'll do it again. I'll be keeping those names. We'll also be giving away that autographed Corbin Carroll helmet to someone on the home run contest via Dennis Sidler and Sid's Graphs. You guys go check out PrizePicks today. We want to thank them and thank all of you guys for continuing to hang out. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Keep those numbers up. Support the baseball. I know you guys are the hardcore crew out there that want to support when you see other outlets letting go of baseball. We are not, so make sure you're supporting that. Be subscribed to the podcast and follow Bubba on Twitter at BDintric, myself, Is It the Welsh, and we will be back on Wednesday to break it all down. For Bubba, I'm Welsh. You guys have a fantastic one. A goodbye for now, friendos. Peace out.